Hey everyone, how's it going? Welcome to my stream. Welcome back. This is, I believe, part 3 of working on and assembling the 1/32nd scale F-4J Phantom II by Tamiya. Been doing a little bit of work, doing lots of spray painting, getting things all prepped and ready for assembly. As you can see there. What else have I done? Spray painted the bottom of this thing, the insignia white, with the inside of the little panels and boxes for the landing gear. Those are just regular flat white. Getting all prepared and getting ready to get this thing assembled. I've already shown you the gunmetal and weathering I've done on that's really, what you would call this, the under rear of the plane, underside where the engines go. It goes in something like so, that kind of a thing, and then your two jets go in on there. The jets, I guess, these guys, one goes like that or this way. It's going to sit basically like that on there. Yeah. Okay, so where are we? In the instructions, we got that done, and so they want me to assemble those pieces now. We got the engine assembled last time. I've got my rear elevators already painted and ready to go, so I don't have to worry about masking them and painting them later, which is going to be nice. What am I doing here? I gotta move that out of the way. Okay. So, engines. Where are my engines? These are assembled. These are ready to go in. Got those ready. And now they want to assemble them. So, we're going to take this and we want to put in our elevators, and they have to go like this. They go like this in there. Just like that. Got an extra piece that I have already put on there, and then this goes on top and locks it all down. Assuming it all fits correctly. Okay. Now they want me to put a screw in from the top down through there, which is going to be fun to do. It's a good thing that I have my magnetic screwdriver. So what screw do we put in? We want another 2x6. So we go to our little screw container. 2x6 seems to be the most common one, I think. I'm going to have to get out my ruler again, because I am not quite sure. I think this is a 2x4, not the piece of wood 2x4. It's definitely not the 6. I think this one is the 6. Yes. Okay. Put the lid back on that just in case. I know I'm going to need another one here, because there is another screw they want me to put through right there. It's kind of funny that they want all these parts screwed together and not glued together. So I'm going to try and do this over my desk, and I need to be able to see in there. So that was actually a lot easier than I thought it would be. screw that, keep screwing until I feel some extra resistance. It's going to signify to me that it's tight. And there it is. Okay. So that's that. Now there's this side. And what screw do we want for that one? We want a bigger one, I believe. The 2x24. So that's the big long one. I think there's only one of those. And that's going to be this big long one. Not sure why I really want so many screws. I mean, at this point, this should be easy to hold together with glue, right? It's not that bad, is it? There we go, nice and tight. Because I still want to run some glue along there, because I don't want it to creak or anything like that, or to, you know. So it's nice that these are not glued, so I have some freedom of movement on them. Although there's not a lot, but I think in real life, I don't think these things do move all that much anyway. That's all the movement we're getting out of those. In its final stage, when it's all done, I am going to have them positioned like this, because, well, yeah, that's just the way I'm going to do it. Okay, now the engines. And I need another 2x6 screw. Okay, put you there so you're ready. And we're going to put the engines on. And the engines, there doesn't seem to be any up or down. These seem to be molded in such a way that it doesn't matter if it's like this or like this. That's what it appears anyway. These pegs look exactly the same as these pegs. They're in the exact same spots in all directions, so I don't think it's going to matter. And well, I suppose if it does matter and I wind up having to flip them over, it's not really the end of the world, because it's only screwed in, right? Lining this up, though, is the difficult part. There we go. That's a definitive spot. Make sure it's lined up there. I think that's lined up. Flashlight here. Not quite. It's going to go a little bit further back. There we go. And that's tight. So there we go. We've got the beginnings of our engines. And that's that part done. Okay. And that's it for that little section of the book. Next, we are now moving on to the cockpit. as much as I'm tempted to put these on just to see how it's going to look. That's a little preview of what it's going to look like when it's all said and done. Just like that. But we're not at that stage, and I don't know what else needs to be going. I know there's some kind of a little strip that needs to go along here, but that's later on. So this can basically be put aside for now. So I'll just put that back here. We have the cockpit. So as you can see, as I was just getting these painted up real quick here to match other pieces of the cockpit, I have already done a lot of work on the cockpit as far as painting goes. Just so I would not bore you guys staring at the top of my head while I'm painting all the little buttons and knobs and everything like that. And that's that. And there seems to be two sets of cockpit parts, and they're not quite the same. So obviously Tamiya's just using the same molds for two different versions of this plane. Even this piece here, there's three of them. And of course, for this kit, I'm supposed to use this one, which I already painted. And not these. So there you have it. And so we have our bucket, and I have to put, didn't realize until I saw these that these are the pedals, and this has to go here. Don't be scared, just put it in. See me jump there? That was funny. Oh, I thought it was funny. Here's my glue. I actually got a new follower on my Twitch channel today. That brings me up to 20. Thank you so much. I believe J-Rod 2208. Thank you so much for following me on Twitch. Hopefully you got the notification that I'm live, and you can actually join me and talk to me if you like. I know you had mentioned on my YouTube channel that you would like to talk to me about this particular build. And so, here I am! I don't know what part of the country you are in, or even if you're in a Western country. So I don't know what kind of time zone you're looking at. And I just realized I frickin' put these in backwards. Stupid me. Which is actually going to make this one really difficult to put in. And I've got the wrong side of it painted, so I need to paint the other side. So we're going to pause for a moment on installing these, since I painted the wrong side of them. I thought this was going to be the side facing the pilot, and actually it's this side facing the pilot. So that was my mistake there. Which is why at the very beginning of this video You saw I only just did a quick little on the one side, and that was it, because I didn't think the other side was going to be exposed at all. So let's get this painted. That's all it needs. It's just a little shot. Just to get it the right color that it's supposed to be. So I'll have to give that a couple of minutes to dry. And that's okay. In the meantime, I can show you guys what else I've done with the cockpit. So I have the main instrument panel. That's done. With all its little knobs and buttons and everything, and I can't get it to show you guys really the glossiness. I'm trying to show you the glass that I did. So there is a clear piece of plastic that gets put on the back of this to give you a few gauges that are clear and or have the glass over top. But there are so many more gauges in the cockpit of this thing. I'll show you a picture. I downloaded a bunch of pictures of the cockpit and everything on this plane, and get an idea of all the gauges that are in this thing. I can bring this up for you guys here. So there you go. There's the cockpit and all these gauges all around here. So what I did on the model to mimic those glass gauges, even over here, was I just took a bit of glue and a toothpick, and I just kind of dipped the toothpick in the glue and then just dabbed right over the gauge after painting it. And the glue kind of has dried, but the glue is kind of glossy and clear, of course, and so now it just looking at it at the right angle you get a little bit of that little bit of shine over it, because it's clear, nice and glossy, and that's mimicking the glass pretty well, and I like that. What else? We have the main gauges for the co-pilot. It's got the piece of glass in the middle there. There's actually a red decal behind that glass. We've got the pilot's, the left-hand panel with the throttle on there, and where's his right-hand panel? His right-hand panel with all the switches and knobs on there. And then we've got the left-hand panel for the co-pilot. That's a hole in there that's going to have this little box. This box with some switches on it. That actually goes into that slot once it's during the assembly, like that. I'll turn around so you can see it. Like that, it's going to go like that. Okay. There is no right-hand panel for the co-pilot. It is basically just this. It's kind of a side panel, if anything, with a whole bunch of little buttons on it, which, looking in real-life photos, they're not really buttons, they're just part of the panel, whatever that panel is. And finally we have this piece here. This is just a silver piece of, well, I don't know what the heck it is. And that's it. That's our cockpit pieces. We do have one final one, and what it is the separator piece between the front and rear canopy. And it has a little panel in it with a gauge. And so that's that. I've done a little bit of detail so far on the pilot's seats, Really just did a kind of a gray dry brush effect on it just to highlight some of the details on it, and of course did the black and yellow around that thing. Can you tell I don't know very much about airplanes? It's the handle thing that you pull on in an emergency. Yeah. Okay, so now that this is the right way around, let's get this glued on. Okay. Now this one, again, it's going to be a challenge because the pedals want to face a certain way, and there's not a heck of a lot of room for the rear. There we go. Putting a lot of importance on the pedals, and you're probably not even going to see them once I got the other parts in. Okay, so we can put on, let's start with this panel. It's going to go right here, just like so. This edge there. Okay, that should be more than enough to hold that one on. Put this side down. Just like so. Probably putting way more than enough glue on there to keep them down. We have, it looks like this piece is actually going to go down. Where are you going? On the floor. That's interesting. Goes on the floor. Okay, so it goes on the floor. Not upside down. Just like that. Interesting. Okay, and we have, I want this panel put in first. There's a little peg to guide it into its exact spot it's supposed to go. I realized there's a little box back here. I could have painted black, but it's not the end of the world if it's not painted black. Not every box and panel and everything is black, which is kind of a unique thing I've noticed. When you look at these models and how everything gets painted and everything like that with all the detail, you notice all the knobs and switches are all white, right? They're either white or silver. Sometimes guys paint them gray. You always know there's one or two knobs that are going to be red or yellow or something like that. But when you look at pictures of the actual aircraft in real life, the knobs and switches are all black, and they all have little white writing around them to designate what those switches and knobs are for and what they do. But the actual knobs and switches are black. But to do that in a model, you're just going to see a bunch of, it's going to be, when you look at the thing, you're just going to see black. You're not going to see anything. And so you kind of have to paint it all white or gray or whatever. I wish my camera would focus easier. You have to paint them like that, otherwise you don't see all that detail from, you know, a couple of feet away, right? Anyway, I want to put this guy in now. He's going to go right there. It pretty much covers up that little black box anyway, so I'm just going to hold him down while I put some glue in there. There's that. And now we have this panel is going to go in there with this little flat thing going into that little slot. That's going to fit just like that. It doesn't really fit snug anywhere else. That's perfect though. So I can just run some glue along this edge. And then put glue right there. And there's that panel. It's kind of strange that they just have that panel and there's no other things. It's kind of strange. Kind of makes the co-pilot kind of cramped in there, I would think. And then the last thing we do for the co-pilot is put his panel on. Looks like it's just going to kind of slide down in there and sit with like not really a peg to sit on or anything like that. It just kind of sits there. But it doesn't sit right. Oh, there we go. So this, I gotta make sure that's sitting back because it's actually gonna go in between that gap right there. Alright, just stuck my fingernail in. So it needs to line up. It needs to actually go in between there. So what should have happened is I should have put this part in first. Doesn't matter though, because it fits in there nice and snug and tight. So there's no problem, no problem. Or as a co-worker of mine says, it's fine, it's fine. Okay. There we go. So we've got the co-pilot's little cabin, his little home. Come on. There we go. So he's pretty much there. The only thing left is the seat. As far as I know, anyway. As far as the pilot, though, we need to give him a joystick, which I have here. Do they call it a joystick on airplanes? Or is it just the stick? Does it give them any joy? This guy has to go right here. The reason I'm putting this in first is because it's always a bit of a chore getting the flight stick. There we go. It's a flight stick down. It's going to be a challenge to get at that with the glue, so I will use this glue. Even though this glue is a little thicker, it doesn't set that too fast, so do I have it facing the right way? Nope, that's backwards. There we go. See, now that's there, I can use this just to make sure it ain't gonna move. And with that, the next step is the main instrument panel. That goes into that slot in the middle, and also on the two sides. Just like that. Okay. To do it. Not quite happy with the amount of glue I have on this side, so add a little bit more. Done. And so that concludes the cockpit assembly minus the seats. Now, the color gray that I used is actually just, I chose the Tester's light gray USAF on here, and Tamiya calls for sky gray, their sky gray. I don't have that color, and so I just picked a light gray that's going to be different than something else that doesn't have like a hint of blue in it or anything. I just wanted a light gray that's kind of generic, and so I picked the Tester's light gray, and I think it's going to be a good contrast if we contrast that against the actual plane. It's definitely a slightly different gray, right? And that's what I was going for. Right? So I think that kind of turned out pretty good. So next, they want me to put it in the actual fuselage. And they want me to, again, use screws. And so what do we want? 2x4s and a 2x4. You want me to use the 2x4s. I thought I was done with screws today, but I guess I was wrong. 2x4, 2x4. I'm just going to put them here for now. let's take a look here. Make sure it's going to go there and there. Let's see how she fits. Tight fit. Not really any resistance though. Tight is good. Looks pretty good. Okay, let's put our screws in. Let's just put this on my lap for now while I get a screw ready. Again, I'm tightening it down. I want to tighten these in. I don't want to tighten one end and then possibly put a bunch of pressure so that it's pumping up at the front and then trying to sink that down. So I'm just going to tighten a little bit and then a little bit and then go back and forth. Go tighten this one, then this one, then this one, then this one, like you would if you were tightening down a cylinder head on an engine. Which some of you may be like, what are you talking about? I've never tightened down a cylinder head on an engine. So for those of you who just thought that, well, you'll have to just trust me on that. This one doesn't want to go in, so what's wrong here? We're not in all the way. There we go. So now I can tighten this one up better. Snug this one down. Yep, that's good. And then there we go. Okay. Let's put that facing up. There we go. So our cockpit is in. Just like that. Let's turn around so you can see. Boop-a-doo, there's our cockpit. Woohoo, ba-doo, ba-doo, ba-doo. Okay. So this page is done. So we flip the page and see what's next. It looks like we're going to be working on the bottom half of the fuselage. This is starting to get a bit heavy. I don't know how heavy, but it's starting to get some weight to it. It's because all those metal screws, those metal screws don't weigh anything. So, they want me to drill some holes. So I'm just going to take my Jiffy marker and I'm going to mark on here where they want these holes. So they want this one and this one. Same on this side. Now this one's a little confusing because I got 3 spots, but they only want 2 holes done. Let's see. Open holes from the inside. Okay, thank you. So it's going to be this one, and this one, this one, and this one. Okay. And then we want 2 wings. A13 and 14. Since I'm going to have the drill out anyway, I might as well grab them. This is the A tree. Looks like I've got something spilled. I spilled some coffee on my model. That's funny. 13 and 14. That's these mean big guys. So I want to try and preserve that edge. This one, not so much. Well, when I say not so much, I mean it's not as critical. See, I don't want to accidentally pinch this off with the nippers, because then you can accidentally actually make it concave, and now you've taken a chunk out of it, and I don't want to do that. So I do want to trim it close so that it's easier to clean up with the knife. There we go. I'm sure I will find those little pieces at some point when I need to move everything out of my room. I'm sure there's all kinds of little nub pieces that have been scattered throughout the years that get flung around, scattered, hidden underneath, behind cabinets, on the floors. All that good stuff. Getting these prepared, so not only does it want me to drill some holes in them, I'm assuming on the next page they're going to want me to install these pieces. Could be getting ahead of myself, I don't know. It's just what I figured. Since we're already kind of at the stage where we're assembling this thing. Alright, so those are cleaned up. So what holes do I need? I'm assuming it's these two. They're marked in the plastic. I just don't know if those, yeah, those are the ones. So bing, 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 bing. It's probably going to have something to do with the landing gear. So I'll just use my pin vise to get through. Very, very thin plastic in that spot. The pin vise just makes complete short work of it. Just a little bit of pressure and like 3 or 4 turns and it's gone through. That's those 4 done. I was going to say 2. these holes here, now the bit I'm using is like perfect size, like it's a perfect size for these and two of these, but there's two holes here up front a little bit bigger, so I will open them up a little bit more with my X-Acto knife to make those holes match the size that they want. It's the same with these ones here at the back. They're just slightly bigger holes. Now I could put a bigger bit in, it wouldn't make much difference. I get the same results just opening it up with my X-Acto knife. It doesn't really make much difference which route you take. This just saves me from having to change bits, really. Side, same thing. It's kind of just use my drill bit kind of to deburr it, and also open it up on this side. So those look pretty good. This one could be a little bit bigger. Doesn't take a lot to make the hole bigger. Hey Chucks, go back around on the drill bit on the other side. Yeah, that's what I did too. I go on both, kind of open it up on both sides. These two holes on the front need to be a little bit bigger. Just to match. Let's double check here. We're looking good. Looking good. Okay, so get all the shavings off of me. Those are done. Now they want me to assemble the fuselage. Oh, okay, so they want me to take that big long screw. Yes, it is. It's the F-4J Phantom 2. I'll show you in the book here. This guy. This is the 1/32nd scale version by Tamiya. Well, I guess you saw that in the picture I just showed. Okay, so we need 2x4mm screws, and then that big long one at the back that I put in here, I have to remove it and then put this on. So that's fun. But I need two more of the 4mm screws. This plane's all about screws. Let's do this. 1, 2. You can go over here where you're safe. this one out. And now let's try and get everything lined up. That one, that one, okay, so let's put one screw here on this wing so that I don't have to hold it anymore. This one done up tight, or at least snug, so I don't have to hold it. And let's get this back one reinstalled. With the Tsukimura, a fanatic. Tsukimura. Yes, I did finish the Tomcats. The finished product, well, I guess you could watch my video on YouTube, or you could check out the pictures. I took some still pictures of them posted them on my Instagram. The Revell one, as predicted, did not turn out very good. The Tamiya one, it came out pretty good. But I kind of figured the Tamiya one was going to come out good anyway because, well, it's Tamiya. And so kind of expected that. Okay, so this one, this side is not very happy with this screw. This screw doesn't seem to be tightening. So clearly it's just stripped and spinning in the hole. But I'm going to cure that. By using some glue. Yeah, so you can see there's some plastic on the threads where it's just stripped. It's a little too much pressure for it. Go to me 4 times. One more time for myself and super glue that one. I think that'll be fine just like that. I'll just add a little bit more here. I'll use this stuff. I think I want to add glue to a few spots anyway. I don't want to rely just on the screws holding this. The screws aren't going to make all the seams line up nice and everything, so the screws are nice in how it holds it together, but in the end, you have to glue it. Just make sure I tighten this one up. Okay. Next. Let's double check. We need to put in our parts here for the interior of the landing gear. down. I can put this down. The new SR-71 looks great. And Revell, no bleeping comment. Yeah. That's the thing, you know, back in the day, Revell was really good and was kind of the go-to for model kits around here. They had good quality, they were great, the fit was pretty decent. You know, I don't remember in my younger days really having much of an issue with Revell kits, especially like with their model cars, right? But it seems like nowadays they just haven't done anything, they haven't improved, you know, and their fit on a lot of them are just crap. Bondo Queens, yeah, no kidding, right? Like, you gotta use so much putty and stuff. It's one thing I wish I could still get was those old NHRA Top Fuel dragsters. I wish they still made those or were available. It's so hard to find them now because those were really, really cool, and the engines were always nice and detailed on those. But you're in Eastern Canada. Oh, cool. So it must be getting pretty late there. It's just about 4:30 in the afternoon here. What was I just looking for? Oh, I need to get my pieces for this B14 and B6. B-tree. Oh, I already took off. Forgot. Yeah, I'm near Vancouver, BC. Need that piece. And this piece. What else do we need? Those other pieces that are thin like that. That one. Yeah, I'm from Canada and they think I'm slow, eh? To quote an old Simpsons episode. Okay, where the hell are my parts here? As you can tell, I've pre-painted my landing gear pieces and parts, all so that I can just assemble them and not have to worry about showing you guys the painting process, because, well, everybody paints kind of their own way. As you can tell, I use these. I don't use this airbrush. Once you mentioned before that you use rattle cans. Yeah. All those. I don't airbrush. Never have. Airbrush would be cool. I just don't really have the facilities for it. In my younger days, obviously, I never had the money to buy an airbrush or anything like that, so I never did. Never learned how to use one. Now, in my older days, I just find I don't really have the room to have one now and to set up any kind of an airbrush booth or anything like that. So, for me, it's all about the Tamiya rattle cans. And I mean, the Tamiya paints are really fantastic. They don't really stink too much. I find the Tamiya paints are really nice. The Revell paints stink to high heaven. It's freaking crazy. I mentioned before, I use Harder and Stenback airbrushes in Vallejo Model Air. Yeah. Yeah, that's very popular. I've got the Vallejo paintbrush stuff. Well, I guess it's the same shit, right? It's basically the same stuff. You just mix it with some, you just thin it out for the airbrush, right? Okay, so I'm going to figure out which one is which because these look almost identical. Oh, but one's got to fit the contour of the wing. So if I put this one in here, one's got a little notch in it. That's going to go down like that. Yeah, that matches there. If I use this one, it matches anyway. It's thicker, yeah. So, just doing a test fit because I'm not sure which one fits properly, and I'm going to guess it's the other one. It's getting a lot of resistance there. I should have marked these because there's a left and a right, and I'm not sure which one's going to which just by looking at it. So I have to see. Yeah, it's a little bit difficult. It looks like the notch goes on the bottom. So I think I've got the right one in now. That's definitely fitting better than the other one did. So that's obviously that. And then this one, that's not this side, we want this one. It's going to go in right there. To get it to go where it's supposed to. Just like so. Okay, let's throw some glue on it. Yes, I am near an airport. Right near Vancouver Airport. Yeah, no kidding. Yeah, I'm near Vancouver Airport. That's about as specific as I need to be. There we go. So that side's done. Now we can put, I gotta finish drilling these holes. All I did was the little pilot. That should be good for that side. Oh, surprise, surprise, I need to screw this one together too. So what screw do I need? A 2x4. Where did I put my screws? Screw goes in right here. Providing I got everything lined up. Which it doesn't feel like I do, but it is. There we go. Sometimes it's a little hard getting that first bite in on the screw. Until I got some good resistance. There we go. Okay, so obviously without any glue, we've got gaps. when we glue it, the gaps will disappear. So what I'm going to do is I will get this one done on the other side, get that together, and then I'm going to have to call it a day and continue on another time. But for now, we will get this put together on this side. That looks about right. To get in my Discord sometimes so we can voice chat. Yeah, that'd be cool. I have to admit, I don't really go on Discord much. I had Discord on my phone, and it got so many notifications I actually had to remove it from my phone. Anytime anybody made any kind of a comment, my phone would go off, and it's driving me crazy. That looks lined up pretty good. Okay, where's my other wing? Okay. All right, I'll check out that link when I'm all done here. Looks pretty good. Okay, so those holes are done. Fits pretty good. Okay, one more screw. One more screw. You will do. Go. Tight. Perfect. Okay. And so that's that. So I'm going to finish this up here. I have to get going. I'm going to get all this together and get rid of all these little gaps. I got to put lots of glue. And there's an end piece that goes in here. I don't know if I really need to do it. I'm not going to have the wings up. I'm going to have them out. So we'll see how that's going to look. I got to glue it up and tape it up and then get rid of all these seams. But yeah, that'll be it for today. We're getting along there. We've got something that actually looks like an airplane now. Oh, it's glue and closed pegs, yeah. All right. That's about it. So I'm going to call it a day. Well, thanks for talking, Jux. It's nice to actually have someone in my chat for a change. So, it seems to be very common. I get a few people watching, but they don't say anything. They're just lurkers. And that's all right, too. I'm going to do my usual plug here for my YouTube. You can check out my YouTube. You can see past builds that I've done and all the stuff. If you want to watch me live, check out my Twitch channel. If you want to see still pictures of the stuff I've done, you can check out my Instagram. And if you're watching this on YouTube, You can check I'll put the links down in the comments section. Thanks again, Lux. And yeah, I'm going to end it here and call it a day, and we will continue it all next time. And so yeah, thanks again for watching. Thanks for coming out. And we will see you all in the next one.